This is part 3 in our tour of Adam's calendar. We traveled just north of Adam's calendar, and Edwin stops to talk about the significance of this particular location. If you've missed videos 1 and 2, please see the links in the descriptions below. Thank you.
How it was. So this
Which
is
way?
No, we're going straight.
Oh, straight. Okay.
Let's go straight. Let's go straight. Yeah. So we are now up in the clouds. Can you see? Down there, it's just clouds. That's the valley. Today we won't be able to see it because it's covered by mist. It gets very misty here. Today it's not very misty. When I say it gets very misty, there was an experience once which I had here with a woman from United States. We came here. Okay, just stop here.
Okay.
Let's just stop.
It's good?
Yes, it's fine. We just want to go by this tree. Yeah. So when we arrived here, the place was literally not there. Now, when you tell people this, they'll say, but are you crazy? How can you say the place was not there?
It was not there.
It was not there. It was not there. And you would also be surprised when I tell you this, because you would say, but how come? I had a dream the previous night. And that dream was manifested just on the morning when I came with this lady here. And she will swear and actually maintain that when we came here with Edwin, we went to the place and there was nothing. There was actually literally nothing. And then we had to come again the following day. And then when we came, I said to her, now, you know what we are supposed to do here? Let's look at our footprints where we parked the car, and we just saw it was just about 5 meters away. And she said, but here, this is where we parked. Yes. And this is actually our car, which was here. We came here yesterday. And I said, yes. And she said, but there was nothing here. And I said, you know what, Patricia? If we, the two of us, go and tell people this story, people will tell us that you people are conspiring to do something.
So the veil.
It was probably
between worlds.
Yes, it was a timeline. Yes, I even up to today, I still believe and think we had gone into another timeline on that particular moment we came there. There was something that was happening. Yes. In the past. And when we came there, it was a timeline before the calendar had been what?
Wow.
Had been built. And today she's in the United States. She's saying she's coming next year, Patricia. She's also a Shah woman. She does healing. And I said, you know what, Patricia, I don't really know. But you may know. And she says, you know what? I support you on that one. I was here, I saw it, and we walked around here. There was nothing. And when we wanted to go back to the car, we could not find the car.
Wow.
We spent almost 15 minutes. We were walking like this. And I said to her, no, let's stop. Let's just stop. And so we waited. We never moved again an inch. And then it's like our consciousness began to come back. And after about 2-3 minutes, we walked. And you know what? We actually bumped into the car. Like,
wow.
We were passing the car, and my legs bumped at the front of the bonnet there. And I then went like this, and I said, no, here, this is the car. And she was literally holding my back like this. And I have never experienced that in my entire life ever again at this particular site. I don't think I would experience it, but something at that particular time, that was 2019 in June, and that was just before the winter solstice. And that place, I think it could have also been designed or created or built during what? During winter. It is a sundial, but you don't need the sun to create a sundial. A lot of people think that you need the sun to create a sundial. No, you don't need the sun. You need the magnetic points vibrations of the earth ley lines. Yes. When the sun in the southern hemisphere, because solstice actually means solstice terre, the sun stood still. You should know when exactly the timeline stands still. And then you calculate it quantum mathematically backwards so that you can realign it with all the other structures on the eventful ley lines of the hexagon, because it's actually a electromagnetic field hexagon that hovers about the planet. If you know the composite alignments of this hexagon, you can actually use the timelines of calculation backwards using Aunitak, Aunilam, and Mintaka, the three best stars of the Orion belt, and then get to the original grid, which is Kepler's laws of planetary motion. You can actually, it's a mathematical constellation which you'll be using. So here where we are just here, this tree is a marker you are seeing here. And this marker is marking an ancient burial site. This is where a king was buried. A king was buried here. And his name is Dumuzi. And this is where a lot of people are thinking that Dumuzi, when you look at his name, we asked Baba Credo Mutwa and we said to him, now, who is Dumuzi? And Credo Mutwa says, when I arrived here in 1937, we all converged here. This is the place where we converged. And this tree has been put recently as a marker to say this is an area of burial site. Now, a burial site is not for one person. It means that it's a ground, it's a burial ground of a king. Because in ancient times, a king would be buried with his advisors. Remember, you would not be buried alone. Even when you come, so this is the northern side of Adam's calendar here. This is the north. So when we stand in Adam's calendar and you put your compass, you're going to find that there is a burial site in the north, and it is marked by this tree, which they put here. Now, when you go to Great Zimbabwe, in the north, there is the burial sites of the Munumutapa kings. And that is also another ancient site, Great Zimbabwe ruins. If you go to Napo, which was a city called Babylon, in the north, there is the ancient hill of Darius, where Darius was also what? Was buried in the north. If you go to the Stonehenge, they are hiding the fact that King Arthur was also buried on the northern side of the Stonehenge. This is what they are also hiding there, but there is a burial site on the northern side of the Stonehenge. And when you come to Adam's calendar, Dumuzi is buried on the northern side of the what?
The calendar.
Of the calendar, yes.
This is what we are now seeing as humans, to retrace ourselves and link up with what we lost. Yes. So we lost a lot of things. So in that journey, it means that we have to re-link with ourselves, yes, and get to that stage in which we can reactivate the what? The elementary energy which was actually given to us, and we just lost it for no apparent what? For no apparent reason. So I think this is where it is. So Dumuzi, as you say, possibly have been, when you look at the Sitchin's work and you go to the cuneiform texts, of ancient Sumeria, you are going to find that he is said to have been the 6th king out of the 7 kings who ruled the what? The planet. That's where the issue is. Now, Dumuzi and Sitchin never met, but they talk about one man who was buried next to a crater, and his name is Dumuzi. When you come here, the shaman here who converged here in 1937 said we converged at the burial site of what? Of Dumuzi. And then you go to Mesopotamia, you find again the crumbled elements into temples in Mesopotamia on the Tigris. Again, talking about a king who was one of the 7 elementary kings who ruled the globe, and one of them was Dumuzi. And you say, okay, in Mesopotamia. Then you say, okay, that's fine. Let's go to Babylon. And then in the temples in Babylon, you find again the same inscriptions. And a name appears again, which is Dumuzi. So Sitchin says, I'm wondering who this king is. He's very popular amongst the 7 kings. He's a very popular man. Why is he very popular? Where was he buried? When you go to interpretation of the cuneiform text, Zachariah Sitchin interprets one cuneiform text of the king's list when he says, Dumuzi was buried next to his father's favorite site, on a site in deep Abzo, above an escarpment. And this is where his father's favorite site was. Now, who was his father? Could possibly have been Enki. That's where the issue is. Possibly, it could have been what? Because his father's favorite site, we don't really know whose father Dumuzi's father's favorite site and what it was all about. But we know it was overlooking a crater. And the only place in Deep Abzu, which is southern part of the equator, Abzu, we had Upper Abzu, which is the north, and Deep Abzu, which is south of the equator, which is southern hemisphere. That was known as Deep Abzu. And Deep Abzu, we find a narrative that he was buried next to his father's favorite what? Site. And this favorite site could possibly have been what? The calendar, which is a timeline. A timeline to what? To link what? To link the planets. Probably this is where we get this electromagnetic field frequency, which actually is harnessed by these two central pillars, where we get 325 gigahertz of what? Revolving rotational magnetic energy. Where we are going there, they actually measured 325 gigahertz. Even Eskom, our electrical company, cannot manufacture that amount of what? Energy. They can't. And this is a portal, possibly be a portal, and it has this suction element, which these 2 aircrafts, 1961 and 2003, were sucked out of the, of the sky, was they are attempting to cross the site. So whoever created that site knew about the quantum mechanics of harnessing earth energy and how to trap it and actually amplify it using this machine or amplification device, which has its dolerite or plutonic gabbro rock pointing up into the what? Into the sky.
Hopefully my camera keeps working.
Hopefully, yes. So this is the place, and it has been marked by this tree. This tree is recent, and it's a tree that they actually brought it from Israel. This is the shiny leaf tree. I don't know its scientific name, but they say it was brought in from Israel. When we go into the calendar, I'll show you the markers again of the northern marker and the southern marker. which are in alignment with this tree. And there are all these exotic trees which were planted so that they can actually, if it's a clear sky day, you actually see the alignment instantly in the center of the containers of the rock that when it is like so this is where we are going. So this is the place. Ancient burial site, meaning to say you also had the issue of the king being buried with his advisors. And in modern times, it also happens. The queen mother, if he is a king and he dies, you know very well that within 3 months, you also have to call him to burial. So that's how it works. It happened recently with the Zulu. Yeah, Kwanoko. And people do not understand why after the king died, 3 months later the queen mother also she had to come back. Well, you have to be buried alive. That's one thing. It means that they will do a ceremony in which you go into a very deep one and you wear hold your regalia and they give a ceremony and you will put yourself first. And you write the will so that's how it works. So that's basically the knowledge of the African knowledge system. But then it's not only African knowledge system. This has been around the world. But this information will never be documented or sent in. Yes. Yes. So I have to explain myself because of the face. Yes, that's fine. It is just very, very so it's basically now very important for a and remember there will also be his ornaments, very important ornaments. This is why you find the tombs of Tutankhamun, the gold which was found there was just insane. But it was written, the first man to enter for God. The first man to enter this secret chamber was yes, and it did not take 6 hours for him to go. It was like a fever, as it was God. Yes, the first man to enter, they opened the tomb, but now they said, who is going to what? To enter? Who's got the guts? Because it is written there, the first man to what? To enter or what? Will die. And it was like, is it true? Really? We think it's false, it's fake. And the temples of Apollo is just written, know thyself. Before you get in here, know thyself first. So it means that we heal from within, not from without. Yes, our healing started from within. You have to heal yourself before you can get this speck out of my eye. First remove the one which is in your one. Yes, and know thyself. It means that we have to go to the self-centered creed of self-consciousness upliftment first, and then we can begin to heal others. And this is what we lack as human civilization, because when I break a piece of bread, I'm the one who breaks it. What do? I offer it to you to choose, not to me to choose it. As soon as I start to choose myself, it means I've got ego. I'm self-centered. I cannot uplift humanity. So these are some of the secrets that are encoded in our DNA strength. So when I break the piece of bread, I need to say, and you choose the one you want, and then I take the one. That's kingship. That's royalty. That's the perfection of what? Of the resemblance of love. The highest frequency of what? Of all frequencies. Makes a circle and the what? The cross. So here we can go to Adam's calendar now. So this is where they converged. So when they were being initiated, all the shamans converged and were called one by one to go into, one by one at a time, to go into the calendar. And you were not called by cell phone. It was what? Telepathic what? This is a distance of about 2 kilometers. But when your chance came, you had to stand up here and what? Nobody told you.
So we're 2 kilometers here.
Yes, from
to the calendar. Okay.
And nobody told you. You just had to stand up and what? And go. So this is where the issue was. It was telepathic what? We have lost a lot of things. And if you want to ignite the knowledge, it doesn't need to be like a child. Put like that and be like a one. Like a child. That is what manifests light. The silence of the lamps. You have to go into a silent one. And you have to move out of the cities where there's a lot of noise and congestion and commotion and come here. This is why you see Adam's calendar is far away from any place. It means even in 1937, you would go for 40 kilometers without seeing anyone. 100 kilometers without seeing anyone. Because you needed to go to the mountains, you needed to go out of people's way so that you can resonate and connect with the environment, with the animals, with the plants, and talk to plants. We can communicate with plants. We can communicate with animals. We have just lost how. We can communicate with the weather. We can tell the weather to stop or to go. We can do that. Yes. We have had examples. When the weather was told to keep what? Keep quiet. And it followed. We've got that ability. But how do we go? It means the manifestation of your one. Our photons. Humans, we generate 20 photons per second in our light photons in our mind. But when we meditated fast and we stop eating meat, our consciousness is raised to 100 and from there to 1,000 photons. That is when she can just heal you with your say not for the head, just touch it to the head.